thank you very much for your time, Mr. Manoj. I mean, it's a pleasure to have you with us for this interview. So can we
Same here.
start? Yeah, sure. Can we start off with an update on business? I mean, and the journey, more importantly. So redBus has in a way revolutionized, transformed the way Indians travel, especially on buses. So how has the journey been, and how does it feel to have played such a role in the industry, and especially in a sector that was quite fragmented and unorganized? I think redBus has played a pretty critical and a crucial role in this. How has the journey been? How would you sum it up in your words?
So as you said, and as you know, that redBus has been around for 17 years now. We started in 2007, and we have been able to bring some order into this whole fragmented and unorganized marketplace. redBus is a two-sided platform. So in any two-sided platform, there is a seller side and then there is a buyer side. Now, and we are in the intercity bus space. That's the segment we operate in. What we have been doing over the last 17 years is using technology and also gathering deep consumer insights and solving some of the real world problems through the use of technology. I think that has been our USP. And when you get deep consumer insights, so when I say consumer insights, given that we are a two-sided platform, even seller is our consumer in a way. So we take insights, we take problem statements from operators, problem statements from customers who are passengers. And if you solve those, let's say, if you bring them together on a platform and if you create a win-win, that is where value creation happens. And I think that's what we have been doing beautifully for the last 17 years using technology. A lot of operators, like today we work with almost 4,500 plus operators. We have few million customers. Now, what is satisfying for us is that we have been able to not just solve a lot of these real world problems, but we have been able to create a very strong, let's say, space for ourselves in this ecosystem, which is your intercity bus travel, which was always there. It was not that it came only when redBus came. So that is very satisfying. And we still feel that we have a role to play. I mean, there are still problems to be solved. And that keeps driving us. I mean, the whole thing that, look, we have more problems and we can solve, we can make the customer experience better. We can improve our operators' businesses. I think that drives us, and that will continue to drive us.
Wonderful. Yeah. I'd say that's a very simple and a very humble way of putting it, but fantastic. Right.
Yeah.
You gave us some numbers, but can we also get into some more details? I mean, just to set the context, how many bookings are you clocking, say, in a day? I mean, 17 years is quite a significant journey. So how many bookings a day? Operators, you mentioned 4,500. How
Yeah.
many partners, how many agents do you work with as well? So, and a market share of 80% in this space. Can you give some more details, throw some more light on the same, Manoj?
See, as far as bookings are concerned, given that some of those numbers are in the public domain, we are a listed company. We do around 2.3 lakh seats a day. When I say seats, these are seats, number of seats, or number of people who are traveling, who are booking on redBus and traveling. In terms of value in Q3, let's say the last quarter, we clocked a value of around $27 million value of ticketing value, the amount of tickets booked. And till date in this financial year, let's say April to December, first 3 quarters, we've done around 6.4 crore seats. So again, like 2.3 into number of days, simple mathematics. In terms of agents, see, we do have a platform for agents, and that is one of the things that we've been doing. We want to take the ecosystem along with us. We have partners, we have bus operators, we have agents, we have customers. So we do have almost 16,000 to 20,000 agents who are active on a platform, who use, so there are people who come to the boarding point to buy tickets. So these agents use our platform. And we work with almost 125 plus partners. So these partners are partners who distribute our inventory, the likes of Google Pay, Phone Pay, the several banks, Amazon, WhatsApp. So these are all our distribution partners. So there are altogether 125 plus partners. See, as far as the entire ecosystem is concerned, the whole intercity bus market is concerned, basis whatever inventory we have. Let's say I only know, when I say inventory, these are these 4,500 operators giving us their buses to sell. So if I, and that is the only conclusive data I have. So we may be doing, we may be selling around 35% of their inventory. I'm not sure about the share you said, so I don't want to comment on that. But what the data that we have is whatever seats we get, we end up liquidating around 35% of the inventory that we get from these operators.
Interesting.
The broad numbers.
Right, right. So great. I mean, a genuine attempt to, unite and bring as many stakeholders in the ecosystem, onto a platform. That's pretty interesting as well. Right.
Absolutely.
Right. You mentioned about creating value, right? So be it for the operators and on the other side for the end users or the passengers, right?
Yeah.
Can you probably list the top two, three? I'm sure there are numerous number of them that you have overcome, challenges, you've solved a lot of problems. What would you pick as the top two, say, problems or challenges for the operators that redBus, a platform like redBus, has helped overcome? Similarly, for the end users as well, what would you pick as the most significant one?
See, for any bus operator who manages a fleet, or for this business, it's important to get a certain occupancy, or we call it like you have to sweat your asset. I mean, you want to sell more tickets per bus. That is how you make money, and that is how you continue to grow. So I think what we have been able to do from an operator perspective is that we have given them visibility on that liquidation and predictability, because we do advanced bookings. So there's a lot of predictability in terms of how can I manage my operations better. There's a cash flow, there's a predictability, there is a demand. So for any such business model, it is extremely important to have that, because that gives you confidence in terms of managing your fleet, operating your buses. No one wants to wait till the last minute when it comes to whether to decide whether to operate a bus or not. So the whole thing about demand, advanced booking, predictability, cash flow, I think that's a very important piece that operators want. And given that we are doing it at scale, it is meaningful for an operator. If we were a small player giving few tickets to any operator, it wouldn't have mattered for them. But given that we are doing it at scale, it really matters for them, because then they can rely on us as a partner to give them that predictability. That is one. And I think the second thing that we have been able to, and I'm talking about the partner side as of now. See, when you create a platform like what we have done, it is not just about bookings. I think bookings are the common denominator. I think what matters is what comes along with that. So let's say customer feedback, data analytics, ability to, let's say, understand demand patterns. Now, some of those things were not available with the bus operators, let's say before redBus was there. And again, given that we have a scale, we're able to represent a sizable chunk of consumers when it comes to, let's say, feedback on services, ensuring that there is some demand forecasting, there is a data on pricing. So a lot of data analytics, a lot of customer feedback is what now goes through, and we have made products around these. It's not that I'm sharing these manually over Excel sheets and over Word documents. These are all products. They have 100% access to all this information. They can analyze, they can look at customer complaints, they can talk to customers, they can respond to customers. So I think that ability itself is, again, of great value, because I'm also helping you improve your operations. I'm helping you improve your business, not just booking tickets for you, which a traditional agent also used to do in earlier times. I think these are the two things where I think we have been, and I mean, you keep fine tuning it, so you get more and more use cases. On a consumer side, I think see, any online business will bring in convenience, selection, choice. But I think the single biggest thing that consumers have got is the ability to select a seat on a bus, which was not there earlier. And I think this is one of the reasons why consumers, let's say, they want to come on redBus and book a seat. I'm probably the single biggest reason. And the other thing again is the transparency of information, ratings and reviews, ability to select, make a choice, accuracy of information, departure time, boarding point, rest stops. I think all that adds to the whole experience about going about booking, trusting a platform. So I think, and if you're showing accurate information, if your ratings represent the actual picture on the ground, I think that is where your repeats happen. So on a consumer side, I think seat selection and ability, all the meta, transparent data, reviews and ratings, information, I think these two things, again, I think that is what we have been able to achieve, I think, from a consumer side.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I think it's a classic example of the power of technology in adding to the transparency of the whole system. That's phenomenal, I would say.
Absolutely.
Right, right. So, of course, there are other, bus ticket booking platforms. There are multiple options today. But where do you think the redBus still has an edge over the others? I mean, what do you think you offer differently or in a better way that probably, puts you slightly ahead of the others? What would that be?
See, I think the model is fairly simple. Okay, it's not a very complicated model. And like I said, we really believe in the basic tenet of this being a two-sided platform. So there is an operator, there is a customer, and I think we have stuck to that. We've really imbibed that philosophy. So just to give you some examples, so when we started, obviously we were getting inventory, we were having APIs, and we were integrating APIs. So that was like some of the BAU kind of activities which we're doing. But over time, after a couple of years, we realized that, look, what value can you add to this ecosystem? And I think some of the things that we have done in the last so many years, we have pioneered those things. And that is what makes us different from some of the other players. So for example, bus tracking. Like, we were the first large OTA in India to offer bus tracking as a feature. Even before Uber came, or even before, I mean, people got used to, like I'm talking about way back in 2016, 17, we realized that, look, this is one feature that people would really appreciate, and it is much needed. And in a private operator ecosystem, there is no government mandate, there is no let's say regulatory pressure on them to do. It was just by influencing them, telling them the importance of having GPS on their buses. So today we have got 90% of a fleet trackable, which is not a small number. So look, bus tracking, one feature where we were the pioneers. Reviews and ratings, absolutely important. Transparency, accuracy, fairness. And when customer rates, it has to be accurate. Not just that, we have also built the entire platform around quality and hygiene. So if you are rated well, you will be able to sell more. So it's again a two-way feature. If you do well, if you're giving good quality, you may end up selling more because it impacts your position on the search result page. So I'm just giving you some examples. And then a lot of things. Let's say, for example, so once you have the GPS feed, you can do multiple things. So we ended up doing a wake up alarm. So a lot of these buses, they reach their destination early morning. And we used to get these complaints, oh, driver did not stop, I missed my dropping point. So we started a wake up alarm feature based on the GPS feed. So then you keep building upon some, like if you have the GPS feed, then you can do multiple things, ETA, navigation to the boarding point. So many things you keep building on your, let's say, some of these features. Also on the operator side, I think we have been very, let's say, operator friendly in a way. And we also want to help them in multiple ways. So when an operator, let's say when an operator goes live on a platform, we have a program called Sathi. Now, Sathi is a program that is meant for new operators. So many of these operators come from offline to online. So they're not very tech savvy. They don't understand how to, let's say, digitize the inventory, how to monitor their, let's say, how to add meta, add images. So all that, a program called Sathi, which is available for all new operators, is we offer it to the operators. Then there is another program which is called as Rise. Now, Rise is for operators who've been around for some time, but don't have the wherewithal like bigger operators. They may not have call centers. They may not have SOPs to manage, let's say, customer complaints. So then we offer a program called Rise, where we go slightly deeper. We help them using on data analytics, get customer feedback. So some of the tools that we have, we help them use those tools. Similarly, we have something called Primo. Now, Primo is for a operator who is evolved, who has better services. Now, there I'm helping him liquidate more. So we have programs across the spectrum. So I think that is what differentiates us from any other player in the market, that we've been into the system wholeheartedly. Because supporting the operators, we are supporting consumers, we are creating two-sided platform, and that is, I think, helping us being the market leaders in this space.
Makes sense. Pretty interesting. Interesting. Right.
Yeah.
I'd like to obviously, delve a little bit more on the operator side of it, so that this is still more B2B and less of
Absolutely.
B2C.
Absolutely.
Right. So those are pretty interesting things to listen to. Okay, we're also seeing private bus operators naturally after this boom in online and digital bus ticket booking. They are naturally trying to promote their in-house ticketing portal on their own name, in their independent name, right? So what are your thoughts on the same? Is it indicative of an urge for these operators to woo more passengers into their own portal without the need for a middle platform like redBus? What would your thoughts on the same be?
See, like I said earlier, that in this business, every seat matters. Because when your bus is going from point A to point B, and if there are 5 seats which are empty, it's an opportunity loss for any player, any partner. So if any bus operator has an option of multiple channels which will help him liquidate more inventory, I think that's the right thing to do. Now, whether it is their own channel or any other OTA or any other agent, any offline channel, I think that's the right thing to do. We are absolutely in sync with that. What we want to do from our side is to create a channel which operators will prefer, because they see more value coming from it. Now, if they find that redBus is giving them a certain amount of liquidation, which helps them, let's say, run their business profitably, they can rely on us for a certain, let's say, volume of bookings. We have no concerns whatsoever in terms of whether they are promoting bookings on their own channels or any other OTAs, as long as they treat us or they value us. And I think that has been our endeavor, that look, at the end of the day, we have to be valuable to our operators. Genuinely. So because and on a long-term basis, because nothing can be like, we don't want to do something that we can't sustain beyond a point. So I think that has been our philosophy, and that is where I think I can confidently say that all our operators value us, and we also value them. And that is how, again, I'm going back to the same thing. That's a two-sided platform. That is what we have been kind of nurturing over the last 17 years.
Got it. Makes sense. Right.
Yeah.
What about the receivables or the payments for the operators who are on your platform, right? Without mentioning names, not on the same bus segment, but of course we're seeing aggregators on, say, other segments where this has been a big sort of a pain point, right? Where payments are stuck and they find it pretty difficult. So how does a redBus ensure that this is absolutely streamlined? Because this is probably the single topmost factor to retain that trust with operators who are actually listed on your platform. So how do you ensure that this whole thing is taken care of?
See, there again, quite early we realized that this is an important area where you can build trust with your partners. And there are two things that our partners want. One is transparency in terms of what you pay to them. And second is predictability of that pay, when you pay to them. Okay. So when you pay to them is pre-decided. So it is part of our, let's say, what we discuss with the operators when we onboard them. And transparency we ensure by creating a very robust technology platform. So we believe that our invoices should be like bank statements. Like you should know everything should be transparently told to you to the last PNR, to the last ticket. And that is what we have been doing for the last so many years. And I'm pleased to say that this is one of the things that operators really like about us. The fact that there is transparency, like to the last seat, you're telling me if this has got cancelled, what is the cancellation policy, how much is deducted, if it is a discount, what is the discount. So everything is very transparently to the last PNR number is mentioned on their invoice. And even the predictability is so much so that it is being told that, look, it's 4 p.m. redBus payments would have come. So it's like almost like mechanical, everything's and we have built very strong systems, backend systems again, because this can't be done. 4,500 operators, so many transactions, this can't be done manually. So all this is backend systems, very strong backend systems. There are reconciliations happening, payouts happening, predefined frequency. So I'm proud to say that this has been one of our strengths. And the reason why our operators trust us, we rarely get any escalations on our invoicing. Rarely. Like I don't remember when I last got any escalation on the invoicing part. And also this also comes from the fact, Bala, is that, like, I'm again going back saying that, look, in this business you need working capital, you need to have cash flows, you need to buy fuel for the next day. So we are cognizant of that. So we know that if we are not doing this, then somewhere I am not helping my operator, and indirectly I'm not helping myself, because we are here because of our operators.
Fantastic. I look at two things that are important. One is an intent to ensure this is done, and equally importantly is the tech ability and readiness to ensure it's done. Phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Right. So let's move on to some of the other stakeholders that are there, right? We've been talking about the operators. What about the rest of the passenger transport ecosystem? We're talking about buses typically. So we're talking about government and regulatory authorities. We're talking about vehicle OEMs, bus bodybuilders, of course, the fleet operators and the passengers whom we're already discussing about. Anything that you think could be different or better as far as the entire ecosystem is concerned, that will not just improve redBus's operations, the entire bus transport in the industry. Your thoughts?
See, let's say one of the biggest challenges that especially the private intercity bus space faces today is lack of infrastructure, especially while boarding the bus. Like most of the boarding points these are roadside, curbside pickups, or even if there are certain, let's say, parking lots, they lack facilities. There's no toilets, no place to sit. So while we have been trying, let's say we have we are doing a pilot in Pune where we have invested on something called as a bus hub. So bus hub is like a terminal, a small terminal where 40, 50 people can sit. There is a washroom, there is a small snack shop, and buses can come and board passengers. We've been doing this pilot for some time now. However, we feel that there are opportunities where, let's say, the existing infrastructure, especially the STU terminals and some of the other infrastructures, can be used, or they can let it out to private operators, because we can do as much. I mean, we can't do things at scale, but there are a lot of STU infrastructures, and these are good locations where private buses may already be stopping somewhere nearby, and it can be monetized also. So it can be a good model where some of these STUs, they start letting out their terminals to some of the private bus operators and charge for that. I think operators will be more than happy to take this opportunity. Apart from this, like we've been working with certain government on easing some of the customer issues or solving some of the customer issues. For example, we have done a project with GHMC in Hyderabad, where these buses were stopping on the road and they were picking passengers. And these points were very, let's say, erratic. So we put some poles called as R zones, like with numbers and with QR codes and all, so that customers can be redirected or can be directed to those. And this was done in association with GHMC, and it really helped, because what was happening was the buses getting parked somewhere, customer is standing somewhere else. Now, by the time customer comes to the bus will be parked for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, which is not good for traffic. So even GHMC thought that, look, it's good to predefine some of these points so that customers can wait there, and when the bus comes, it will not take more than 60 seconds to pick up the passenger. So again, we did that with the GHMC. We see on the other from an OEM perspective, we've been kind of exploring opportunities with the EV OEMs, because EVs are expensive, okay, and operators may not have, let's say, the capacity to kind of bring in that kind of capex. So if we can come in as an intermediary, work with OEMs, and given that these partners have business relationships with us, can we mitigate some of the risk of EV OEMs, and then also ensure that there is, let's say, the quality of fleet, because every 3 to 4 years you need, let's say, the fleet has to be replenished, and that's how the business grows. So if, let's say, we can use some of the tie-ups with the EV OEMs to get the fleet, because the OPEX is lower. So that is what we're exploring. We want to be relevant in this ecosystem in terms of, let's say, what we can do for them. So these are some of the things that we are exploring. Otherwise, we keep engaging regularly with multiple departments, government departments on, there is a request for data points on traffic, on multiple things. So we keep engaging, we keep sharing whatever we can with them.
Interesting. Yeah. Just picking up on the last point, I mean, that interesting development with the GHMC. I think the sky is the limit. If you want to explore the same across the country, there is so much of potential for growth.
Absolutely.
Great. But I'm glad to note that there is something that's already happened, and there is at least one city that's.
In fact, we are already talking to some of the, like I said, on the terminals. We have been talking to some of them. To basically explore the possibility of letting out their infra to private operators.
Right. Interesting. Right. And let's talk a little bit about the trends, right? So COVID was a huge dent, I mean, for the entire world, for the human population, then more particularly the transport ecosystem. And then probably the highest impact was on the bus segment, given the safety concerns for passengers to move out as well, right? Having said that, fortunately, the bus sector is back, bus and coach, intracity, and also very much the intercity travel is also back. Okay? So, what kind of trends are you seeing, especially post COVID, in terms of new routes, new sectors, any large trends of changing trends that you've seen in the industry? Can you share some interesting information with us? Of course, I also wanted to ask about the EV side of it, but you did touch upon it. Anything in particular we're also seeing on the electric bus side that redBus has noticed?
So on the first thing on recovery, see, what you said is absolutely correct. The intercity bus market has recovered, and this, like, how can we convincingly say that is that the investment cycle has begun. So if your partners are doing well, they will want to invest. So if you look at in the last 3 to 4 quarters, we've been seeing continuous orders being placed with OEMs. So that gives an indication that now partners have visibility, and they have cash to, let's say, buy a new fleet. So that's a very clear indication that there is recovery. As far as trends are concerned, I think on the travel side, we have seen that the touristic segment has really grown much faster, especially pilgrimages. So pilgrimages has grown by the let's say people traveling to some of these destinations has grown by more than 25-30%. That's a clear trend. Like that's I think it's a trend across multiple travel modes of travel, pilgrimage and touristic. The other I think what also has happened is because the digitization has gone up. I mean, the whole COVID thing led to, I mean, UPI and all these payments in modes of payments getting penetrated. I think we've seen a good growth coming from tier 2, tier 3 towns. So a lot of bookings on redBus is coming from tier 2, tier 3 towns, and even the inventory acquisition is happening in. So there's a very clear, you can call it like a Bharat phenomena, that we are now going beyond the top 40, 50 cities, and the real people in tier 2 towns, even smaller, I mean, towns with less than 50,000 population, we are seeing bookings there. So that is a very clear trend, and that's good for us. That's good for any business, because now you get new users, you get new geographies. See, on the EV side, again, there are operators now on redBus. We have got more than 500 buses on EV intercity. These are private players. Initial, I think, customer feedback is good. OPEX is high, or CAPEX is high, we know that, as far as EV is concerned. OPEX is low, but the long-term profitability is still, we have to wait for some time. But I think the infra is improving. Probably technology will improve, battery technology will improve. Currently, we see EVs generally operating on slightly shorter routes, where you may not have to do a midpoint charge. So you have Delhi Agra, Delhi Dehradun, Delhi Chandigarh, Bangalore Tirupati, Hyderabad Vijayawada. So all these routes you see EVs are coming in, and they're making a difference. So I think this is one clear opportunity as far as shorter routes is concerned, and I think it will continue to grow. But longer routes, still we have the IC engines more. But as technology improves, as let's say more and more, let's say people bring in buses, I think, and I think government also have programs to promote EV. So I'm sure that space will heat up in the days to come.
Interesting. Right. One thing in particular, what is redBus's presence in intracity transport? You're pretty strong in intercity. What are your plans for intracity commute in any way? And also any kind of engagement with the state transport undertakings with respect to, again, doing something within the city?
So currently we are operating in the intercity domain only. We work with RTCs also, but all that is intercity. So as of now, we have no plans to explore the intracity market. We are pretty much glued on to intercity.
Okay, makes sense. And yeah, this is pretty interesting. When I was doing a little bit of research, that redBus is pretty global. I mean, in terms of presence in Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Peru, and Colombia. There might be some more as well.
Yeah.
How are things globally? Any new additions in terms of markets? How are things going there? And what % of your revenue currently comes from overseas operations?
See, we entered international in 2015 with Malaysia, Singapore, with a strong belief that whatever model we have been able to create in India, there were certain geographies which we felt we could replicate that model. Since then, we have been, let's say, expanding. We're now in 8 countries. So just to add, we are in Cambodia and Vietnam also. You didn't mention those 2 countries. And then subsequent to that, we entered LATAM. Like after 2015, 2016, we entered LATAM, Peru, Colombia. 2018, we entered Indonesia. Now we are entering Cambodia and Vietnam. So altogether, basically 8 countries outside India. Now, In Singapore, Malaysia, we've been there for around 8 years now. We're doing very well. We've become the number one player there in terms of ticketing, by far the number one player. And we've been kind of, again, a lot of things that we learned from our business in India, we've been replicating. But at the same time, given that we believe in customer centricity, so there are problems of that market. So we've been able to understand, solve most of those problems, again, consumers and operators alike. And that is the core philosophy, and that is what has made us successful in Malaysia, Singapore. Similarly, in Peru, Colombia, we've been doing well. Similar philosophy. Indonesia, we've been growing. And we hope that we will scale up in many of these markets. Yeah.
Would you be able to attach a percentage of your overall revenue that comes from overseas operations?
See, I will not be able to comment on that, but it has been growing.
Growing? Okay, right. Interesting. So, in fact, I had a follow-up question and also an observation on your previous answer. I think it just slipped my mind. So that penetration to tier 2 and tier 3 cities, I think it's a clear testimony to the penetration of digital as well, right? That's something that you mentioned as well. A follow-up question there was, there has been this talk, and it's a debate on airfares, the way they've actually been going through the roof. What kind do you see a direct impact or a correlation that you can share that increasing airfares are actually contributing to more travel by road, especially with the roads getting better, buses getting better, transparency getting better? The entire ecosystem is actually in a very, very good sweet spot. So there seem to be more opportunities in intercity bus travel than challenges. Your thoughts on these?
See, as far as air is concerned, we believe these are two different segments, two different users. User may be same, but two different use cases. So we don't believe that there is any interplay between airfare or buses. Okay, independently, buses or intercity bus travel has got a lot of tailwinds from external factors, which you just said. For example, all these highways that are being built. So just to give an example, there is this Samruddhi Expressway that runs between Nagpur and Aurangabad. Now, we have seen that once a highway comes, travel time reduces, operators are willing to put more buses, customers are willing to book. So I think that is a very clear tailwind and indication where intercity bus market will grow on account of some of these highways and roads coming across the country. So that's a very clear tailwind for us. Yeah, and there are other factors also. For example, there was a AITP which came in some time back, All India permit. So some of these things definitely will give buoyancy to the market. But yeah, I mean, nothing to do with air fare vis-a-vis bus travel.
Okay, that's an interesting observation, I would say, right?
Yeah.
Okay, coming towards the end, medium to long-term plans, right? So how has your CAGR been for the last few years, whatever you can share? And where do you see growth coming from, say, for the next 2 to 3 years? If you can list out maybe the top 2 or 3 growth drivers for redBus in particular, what would they be?
See, like I said, again, very difficult to put a CAGR number because of the last 3-4 years, what has happened. So it's completely gone haywire. But yeah, like I said, Q3, we grew by 33% over previous Q3, broadly.
Okay, if I have to just interrupt you there, how close are we to the peak, the pre-COVID peak? And that would be probably a better way to put it. Yeah.
Pre-COVID peak as in terms of volumes?
In terms of volumes, in terms of revenue, whatever you can share.
We've crossed that.
Okay, we've crossed that, right? So that would have probably been 2022 onwards, if I'm right?
This year itself.
This year itself.
23-24, yeah.
23-24. Okay, perfect. What about an outlook? Where do you see growth coming from? What kind of growth are you looking at? Yeah.
See, I think more than growth, I think what we are looking at is the opportunities in this space to strengthen our model. Okay, so if you ask me, let's say from an operator standpoint, what opportunity, like I mentioned, on infra, how to improve customer experience. On data analytics, for example, we are now having a product called RevMax, which is a dynamic pricing product. So one of the inefficiencies in the system is pricing, because pricing is typically done manually. Whereas we have seen that if you put some data science, some predict AI, ML, some models, you can actually improve your yield by anywhere between 8 to 10%. So we need to strengthen that. We need to take it to the operators. We do have operators on this, but there is an opportunity to kind of improve the larger pricing, let's say, play out there. Similarly, there are opportunities in short routes, 1 hour, 2 hour trips, where we feel we can do better. And the growth will come again on account of some newer products and newer, let's say, use cases, because maybe the existing products, existing flows are not very useful for a short route where advanced booking is not that high. Similarly, there may be opportunities on the customer side where, let's say, like given that a lot of tier 2, tier 3, and some of these consumers are coming, we need to reduce cognitive load on the app. How can we make it simple, go vernacular, reduce the steps in terms of number of steps on booking. So I think those are the things that we'll work on, and growth will follow. I don't think you should have enough, let's say, things to do in front of you. And that's what we believe in. And I think growth will follow. We're not worried about growth.
Wonderful, wonderful. Right. Any other major forays that are lined up that you can share, let's say globally or within India, any new segments or categories that you're looking at?
See, like I said, we are looking at short routes. We want to increase our presence on short routes. Plus, not just, not foray as in, there are segments. For example, we want to increase percentage of women travelers. Usually it has been on the lower side for multiple reasons. So whatever we can do within our capacity in terms of, let's say, from a product standpoint or working with operators, promising a certain hygiene, promising a certain safety, let's say, promise to those travelers. So those are the things that we want to kind of drive, which are again growth opportunities for us. So we're thinking of those, but those are the things. We think there's enough opportunity within our intercity bus space for us to work on. And then RTC is there. Like RTC today, again, presents a huge opportunity. We have huge inventory, a lot of STUs, the 25 plus STUs who work with us. So there again, we see a lot more we can do. We can work with them. They are well penetrated in terms of their supply. They are in tier 2, tier 3 towns. So I think we'll keep working with them and try to grow the STU business also.
Wonderful, wonderful. Anything else that you'd like to share, or anything else or any concluding remarks from your side, Manoj? I'm done with the questions that I had in mind.
See, nothing. I think these are exciting times. We've come out of, like you said, we were the worst. Like travel was one of the worst impacted, and now we see good tailwinds. We see good hope. I think the ecosystem is thriving again. Operators are investing. Customers are coming back. So we just want to enjoy. We just want to again go back to our whole technology approach, build solutions, do what we have been doing over the last 17 years, because we feel we've been doing quite well. So that's it. Just continue to do good work.
Fantastic, fantastic. Great to hear that. Especially the concluding remarks, because has been a tough ride during COVID, but I think deservedly the sector is back. It should have taken a lot of fighting from everybody involved. And,
Absolutely.
Wonderful, wonderful. Wish you the best for the rest of the year and for all your future plans as well. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Manoj. Yeah.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much. Thanks. Bye. Take care. Bye.